Hi and welcome to this tutorial on Audacity for Beginners, brought to you by resourcingteachers.com for teachers and students everywhere. Okay, what I've got here is a piece of recording from a 16-year-old student. That's the final bit there, but I'm going to bring it back so it becomes messy to a place where I want to edit it all. Alright, so I'm going to bring it back. So this is the way it looked when I first dumped it in. And let's listen to it so that we know where we're going to head with it.
Kaylin held him hard by the waist. Her legs were too far away. And the thing that held her legs was still farther. The thing that held her legs was farther still.
Yeah. Okay, I'm quite familiar with this piece just to make sure that we don't waste any time. You need to be familiar with the edit that you do before you start it. So this first bit here, he's breathing unnecessarily. So I've highlighted that with a left click of the mouse and a drag. I head up here to this tab called silence, click it, and you'll notice that line flatlines. This next bit, there's a delay. I don't want that delay. So I'll highlight that little bit without clipping the wave side of things. Now that wave means that he's talking again. I want to cancel that. I want to get rid of it. So I highlight that little scissors tab and cut. And it gets rid of that little bit. Now the next bit he mucked up. This bit here is the bit that he mucked up, and then he fixed it up at this point here. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. Cut. Good. He breathes unnecessarily here, so I'm going to silence that. So it flatlines it. This whole bit was another muck up before he came back into the final bit to fix it up. So I'm going to cut everything that's highlighted again, use the scissors, gone. Okay, let's have a look at the final bit to make sure that it's sounding okay.
Kaylin held him hard by the waist. Her legs were too far away. The thing that held her legs was farther still.
Seems like there was a bit too much of a gap in the middle, but the reason I've kept that there, just here, is that I'm going to put some background music. I don't need this bit at the end though. That's unnecessary, so I can just cut that out. Alright, also the volume seems a little bit light, so I'm going to highlight the whole piece of recording that I've edited, go to Effect, and Amplify. Now it's recommending how big it can be. I'm just going to leave it as is. That's the recommendation. You can see the waves jumped up. That's good. Now the next thing I want to do is put some music background in that little gap. So I'm going to go File, Import, Audio. I know where my music is. Just to save time, I want to go to the P's and Pursuit. That's the one. Don't worry about that warning message. Now when that jumps in, you can see that it's a double track. That means that stereo. That's what we want. The speaking is mono and the music is stereo. What I have noticed though is that that is going to be too loud. You can see by the waves going from top to bottom, they're too loud. So go Effect again, Amplify, but this time I'm going to click in minus, and about a 10 I reckon would do it, and you'll see the waves shrink. Good. I don't want it to start where it does though. I don't want it starting there, so I'm going to get those double arrows, click, and my cursor becomes a double arrow, and I drag it to where I want it to be. Take it back to the selection tool so that it becomes a cursor again. Click it to the start. Let's have a listen to the final product.
Kaylin held him hard by the waist. Her legs were too far away. The thing that held her legs was farther still.
Good. And now all we need to do is export it. So File, click Export. Let's call it Reading Sample. And you can choose how you want the export to be. There's a whole lot of options here. You can have WAV file. That's a high quality, but we don't really need it. MP3 is more than sufficient. Know where it's going to end up. We've got our file right, and click Save. You can put information in there based on who read it and who edited it, etc., etc. Click OK, and it's going to mix those two channels together, those two rows, and that's what we want as well. So click OK, and our job is done.